Alright, so I just wanted to start the video off by saying hello. My name is Gerard Natavio and I'm a grade 12 student attending high school. To give an overview that is short and sweet, I've decided to share my SMART goal plan and the results. The topics for today will be number 1, my workout plan, number 2, showcasing one of my meals, and number 3, getting creative with my workouts. The plan proceeds as stated. From December 1st to December 31st, I had started my workout program, conducting 30 push-ups every day, 50 squats every day, and 50 Russian twists every day. Through every month, the amount of reps for each workout increases by 20. In time, it was already February, and as my plan stated, I would be doing 70 push-ups, 90 squats, and 90 Russian twists every other day. I decided to include an every other day because if I was to work out with the amount of reps and intensity every day, then my body would have dissolved and crumbled. My SMART goal plan was to create a 5-month program to showcase body progression. So I asked, what was the end goal? Well, the end goal was to see how far I could go, to be determined through every step, and to prove to myself that I can do this. I also wanted to showcase the experience and growth that I've acquired through my job as a line cook through Earl's. The memories and lessons and people all had a contribution towards my self-growth and self-learning. And now, after seeing my program in effect, I will now show you how to cook one of my meals. So one of the key aspects of being efficient in the kitchen is having a good set of tools, and by tools I mean knives, and especially sharp ones. Because the sharper the knife, the better. Having a sharp knife means that the risk of the blade slipping is reduced, as a dull blade never cuts as well as a sharp one. It's just common sense. During my time at Earl's, I learned that to operate properly, the station must be clean and well organized. A chef can never work properly if there's any clutter. And so that being said, it is time to begin our prep. The ingredients for the vegetables will be 4 golden potatoes, broccoli heads, and button mushrooms. Serving as our protein, we have 1 sirloin tip steak, and for basting the steak, we have shallots, rosemary, ginger, garlic, and butter. There are many other ingredients, but to find out, you need to watch the whole process. Alright, first things first, we have to wash all the produce thoroughly and make sure that your hands are already washed, as this is food safe. Next, peel and dice the potatoes into quarters as this makes the boiling segment faster, and after this is completed, leave the diced potatoes in cold water and ice. After finishing off with the potatoes, it's time to move on to the mushrooms. Cut the mushrooms however you'd like, but keep in mind that these will be added later on in a gravy to create glazed mushrooms. Now that the produce is ready, we can prep for basting the steak. Take your shallots, deskin, and cut in half. Next, grab the ginger, deskin, and cut in half as well. Following after, crush the garlic with the side of the knife, and then peel the skin off. Once that has been completed, move towards washing the thyme and rosemary. We are now almost done our prep. The last thing that needs to be done is to season the steak. Before I even put anything on the meat, I make sure to pat the protein dry with a paper towel. Doing this allows for a crisp crust and also removes the blood and bacteria. You never know if it's clean or not, but I always decide to take no chances. As seen in the video, the paper towel is absolutely filthy. Always paper towel a steak before doing anything to it. Here we have our basic seasonings, salt and pepper. Don't add too much salt because when we baste the steak, the flavor of the meat will be infused with the herbs and butter. In a mixing bowl, add your favorite steak seasoning. In the video, I'm using a seasoning from the Keg Steakhouse, and I generously coat the outside with it. Once your steak has been seasoned, add a couple of drops of olive oil, only enough to barely moisten the steak, but not enough to lather it. After completing all the prep, this is what I'm left with. We are now ready to cook. As you can see, I have separated them and organized them to basting ingredients, vegetable ingredients, and protein. In a large pot, fill with water and set to high heat to let it go to a hard boil. Also fill a smaller pot with water for boils. We'll use this later for broccoli. In a large pan, glaze the bottom with olive oil and wait for it to get to a high heat. The moment you put the meat down, you want to hear a nice sizzle. The beginning is essential in developing a good crust. After flipping once on each side and acquiring a phenomenal crust, it is now time to add the basting ingredients and begin to baste the steak. Once done basting, the steak must undergo a resting period where the lid is placed on the pan and left in the oven with no heat. It is also safe to argue that the resting period is just as essential as the beginning, because during this time the meat is tough and full of liquids. By resting the steak, the meat is able to lose some of the liquids but retain its tenderness. Resting the steak also minimizes the amount of blood in the meat. When cooking the multiple ingredients for this meal, my advice is to boil the potatoes from start to finish, then whilst the steak is resting, perform a soft boil on the broccoli. Now we are cutting the chives into small thin pieces to use as a garnish for the entire dish. After slicing the chives, remove the steak from the pan and transfer onto the chopping board. We'll be using the leftover liquid to make a crazy gravy. This gravy will be accommodated by the button mushrooms to make glazed mushrooms, which will go over our entire dish. It is almost crucial that you skim the excess fat and oil that reside above the saucier layer. This will lead to a much smoother yet impactful gravy bursting with flavor. Once you're left with the sauce, it is time to add butter, 1/3 cup water, and a thickener such as cornstarch or flour. In the video, although I did not show, I had used flour as a thickener. After adding your thickener, your gravy should begin to look like this. Add the button mushrooms, and the mushrooms will absorb the essence and flavor of everything that was in the pan, resulting in glazed mushrooms. Once your mushrooms have enveloped in the gravy, hop the lid on the pan and allow the both to simmer, combining the two items. Once done, remove the residuals of the basting ingredients from the pan. As we finish the glazed mushrooms, we move on to assembling the mashed potatoes. For the mashed potatoes, drain the water and keep the large pot. In the pot, add butter so as not to let the potatoes stick. Proceed to mash the potatoes while adding thyme, pepper, and milk. It is now time for the best part, the cutting of the steak. After a generous rest period, the steak was cooked to my standards as medium rare. Now, you can't deny, the steak does look pretty good. So now that all the cooking is done, I will now introduce my meal. So for the ingredients we have mashed potatoes with butter, thyme, pepper, 1% milk, and golden potatoes. For the strip loin steak medium rare, we have the Keg Steakhouse seasoning, salt and pepper, and olive oil. Basting the steak, shallots, rosemary, ginger, garlic, and butter. For vegetables we have boiled broccoli, and for the glazed mushrooms we used button mushrooms, butter, used leftover steak juice from pan, 1/3 water, and 2 tablespoons flour. And to top it off, I garnished it with chives. After switching my diet, my body had become more hungry for exercise. To compensate for this hunger, I added extra weight to my workouts. For example, when I was doing my squats, I would load my school bag to give me that extra weight, and this was substantial in growing my endurance and strength. Many elements of this video was gained through real-life experiences, such as my program. I learned to make a program through weight training and PE leadership. And I honed my culinary skills through my job in the kitchen. Everything that I've done in my high school career has led up to this moment. A moment where I can say I did it, and all my efforts were not in vain. This presentation is the epitome of all of my work as a high school student. Because of the intense repetition of the program, the hunger that stayed never went away, and I was forced to adapt and add new workouts such as calf raises and pulls, which we just saw. The pulls focused primarily on the muscles of my back, but I wanted more. And so I created workouts using things at home. Using items I had found at home, I was able to make the best out of what I have. My first workout involves the use of 2 tires and a lot of rope, and the biggest element, a steep hill. The goal was to push the tires up the hill. Each segment of going up is considered to be 1 set. This workout focused on the whole body, as not only did I use my legs to push, but also my arms. It was a heavy, full body workout. Although these workouts were off the top of my head, I still found ways to improve them. For example, minimizing the distance, but exaggerating movements to promote muscle exhaustion. But like my main program, the repetition of the workout got to me, and I decided to load up my school bag and do 1 more set. In this workout, I found my friend's skateboard and a bag of rice. The main focus of this exercise were the legs and the abdominals. It was my first time attempting this, and it made me think to myself, it's a good thing I did all those Russian twists. This workout was 20 squats on a skateboard, switching the position of the bag every 10 squats. This workout was one of the most definitely challenging, creative workouts that absolutely demolished my shoulders. It is a modified farmer's walk using 2 of the refillable containers used for dispensers. The focus of this exercise was everything in the arms, legs, and especially the back. And so to conclude this video, I would like to end it by saying I did not get bigger, but I had become more defined and much stronger. I reached my SMART goal because in the end, I learned to love myself and my body and to be grateful for what I have. I used many skills during this video, and to name them, I had showcased my culinary skills, cinematography skills, editing skills, personal determination and self-growth, as well as my athleticism. Getting bigger was never what I wanted. Getting stronger both mentally and physically is what I needed to love myself. And after a rigorous and insane 5-month program, it's safe for me to say that yes, I did it. And I absolutely love myself. I want to thank everyone who stayed with me through all my hard times. This year was difficult, and this big of a goal was not some walk in the park to achieve. There were many challenges that came with the goal, and one to name is the fatigue that comes after. When creating my program, I had to make sure that to get to my desired reps, I needed to start small, and in due time, I'll have acquired where I wanted to be. If I was to improve my program, I would have added many more workouts and maybe a 5-day break in between months to make the intense program just a little more tolerable. I hope you enjoyed my 5-month progress as much as I did making it. My name is Gerard Natavio. Thank you for your time and have a good day.